Hello my viewers, you're most welcome to this other segment of the analysis of narrative techniques. We have covered a number of things in the previous videos and I want to thank you all for watching and subscribing and sharing. In case you've not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please just go on and subscribe. It is LELL and English Language and Literature. You'll be able to see all the videos that we've been putting up and you'll be able to be reminded in case of any video that has come up in a message. Today we're going to look at narrative techniques. Still we're sticking to Devil on Across. We have taken long without putting up this video because we've been working on a website that you can go on and get notes of these videos. They are used in the book Devil on Across. Also going to look at symbolism as one of the techniques that are used in Devil on Across. You shall know what symbolism means, where it is used, and what exactly it is that is a symbol. So we just stay tuned and we'll continue, but maybe to begin with, I will first take you through the different things that we've covered, just in case you missed them in the previous videos. We've looked at the themes, all character and characterization of the different characters in the book. We've looked at the theme of corruption. We looked at the theme of exploitation, neocolonialism, elitism, which actually other people call classism, this theme here. Then we've looked at resistance, revolution, and national liberation. The concept of socialism versus capitalism, we briefly handled it, and I promise that if you want more discussions about this theme, you can get to our online school where we're doing coaching over weekends and holiday programs. Then also look at the theme of greed and materialism. All of these videos are available, and in case you need the notes, I'm going to show you where you should be getting those notes from. Then also looked at injustice and oppression, betrayal and hypocrisy. I left out fate and destiny because it is much more of an idea. However, it is important in developing the other themes, so it's good for you to look at it. In case you need destiny, despair, and disillusionment, get to us. I'm going to give you the contacts and then we shall see what we can do to ensure that we get all of those themes with you. So I want to also take you through the different things that you need to do to get the notes of these videos and any other notes. Currently, our website of Secure Learning, here, if you go to Google and you search EduTech, they will get you this kind of page. So what you have to do is simply to go to Secure Learning. Secure Learning here is exactly where we are getting the notes from. And if you don't go that way, you can just go to the URL link or the URL area of Google and you type the HTTPS, you put these marks, you put these slashes and you type edutechonlineschools.com/secure learning. edutechonlineschools.com/secure learning. You'll be able to get all the notes for these videos and other notes that are not actually presented in these videos. And also, there are other subjects that are coming up. It is not only literature and English. There are very many other subjects, economics, history, divinity, and others that you can get there. So don't miss. You can also get the primary school in case you need coaching for your primary children. We have a primary school online where you do not need to go to a physical teacher. We can always handle lessons online. The same thing with the secondary school. We are already having programs of coaching during holidays and weekends. In case you have work that you want to publish online, poems, short stories, essays, and other things, we can help you also spread the voice that you have. Let the world know you. This is actually a free service. Just go and look for EduTech online schools.com/publishing, or you can actually get it here, just up here. After searching EduTech and then bring this page, you can find them here. Alternatively, just go to Google and search EduTech Online Writing and a Publishing Club. EduTech Online Writing and a Publishing Club. You will simply be taken there. You register yourself and you begin publishing your work for free. In case you need weekend coaching or maybe holiday coaching, we're also there. We can help you. And then also we do board, we do management systems, especially school-based systems, and also have different other skills of developing websites. So in case you need any of these services, we encourage you to come and check on us. We shall help you. Let us proceed with our video about how we handle narrative techniques, especially in this book, Devil on the Cross. To begin with, what is a narrative technique? I think most of us have known how to cook. And you know, when they ask you, how did so and so prepare a meal, you always have to think about what ingredients they use. That is exactly what also a writer uses. What the writer uses to bring out the different ideas that they want to portray to the public is what you can call a narrative technique. All those ingredients. So a narrative technique, according to Wikipedia, is also known as fiction narrative. So it is a literary technique, literary device, or a fiction device. It is any of the several specific methods that the creator of a given narrative or a given story will use to convey what they want. In other words, we can say it is a strategy used in the making of a narrative to communicate information to the audience, to the target audience, and particularly to develop the narrative. Whatever ways that the writer goes to develop or to communicate their ideas to the public, to the target readers, is actually what we refer to as a narrative technique. So for you to make a given story interesting, you always have to use a given ingredient. And if you're talking about literature, you're talking about a narrative technique. It is narrative technique if you're talking about paper 3 or novels, and it is a dramatic technique if you're talking about drama plays, and it is a poetic device if you're talking about poetry. And I think that one already you've covered with your teachers. So we're going to look at irony and symbolism, just like I mentioned before. What do we mean by irony? Let us look at these presentations. Someone has put here a notes, always open. This is always open. You go to a shop and you see a notes, always open. Then down here, the thing is closed. This is what we call irony. You've said it is always open, but it is closed. So we expect that if it is always open, we do not find any time, any single minute, any single second when the place is closed. But here it is closed, and then the note says always open. That is an irony. And then let us look at what we mean by sarcasm and irony, or irony versus sarcasm. We shall also understand that one better when you are handling paper 1 later on. Now, someone here is having a cup of tea, then a plate of food, and then the cup of tea has poured, and then actually it has made her dress dirty. And then she says, wow, great. This is an irony. Why is it an irony? Because what we expect this person to exclaim with the disgust, but she doesn't seem to be disgusted. So this is a big irony. So irony is simply the difference between what we see, what we expect, and what actually happens. The difference between what we see, what we expect, and what actually happens. You expect a different thing and a different one happens. You expect to see a different thing and actually a different one happens. And also you say something different from what you intend to mean. That's what we call irony. So we are simply summarizing the 3 forms of irony. Now, if you look at this, it is raining, and then someone says, lovely weather out today. This is really not a lovely weather. And then we have sarcasm here. Still it is raining, someone has an umbrella. The umbrella is actually smaller than the hand, so it cannot cover even the hand of the person holding it. Then someone says, great choice for an umbrella. This is actually sarcasm. It goes away from irony. It goes away just from mocking to attacking. So this is actually an attack. Let's continue looking at the different ways and different areas in the book where we see irony after looking at its introduction. Thank you. We looked at the different ways that irony can be presented on this page. it is now time for us to look at what we mean by the different types of irony. Let us look at irony in this way. The contrast between what is said, this means this verbal irony here, then what is expected, that is now the situation irony, or what is seen, and then what exactly happens. So here, this is a situation irony. What we expect is not what happens, that is a situational. What we say is not what we mean, that is irony. Then what we see and what happens is actually what we can say dramatic irony. So let us look at the dramatic one. Oh, we begin with the verbal. What is said is different from what is meant. Someone is very dirty and you say, wow, you're very beautiful today. That is actually verbal irony because it is not what you mean. You mean a different thing. You are simply mocking. Then we have the situation irony, something that we did not expect happens. The contrast between what we expect and what happens. For example, we expect that when you are going on a party, you go when you are smart. Then someone puts on a vest and maybe a panty and walks in. That's the situation irony. The situation we expect is not actually what happens. It is situational. And then the teacher the parent sends you to school to study. When you reach there, instead you engage yourself in business. That is also what we call situation irony. Why? Because we expect you to study, but you do a different thing. We come to dramatic irony. The readers know something that characters in the book do not know. Sometimes when you're watching a movie, you know the place where a particular character is going to move to is actually affected with different viruses, or maybe there's a problem that that person is going to face. And the character in that movie does not know. Actually, they move in very happy. That's what we call dramatic irony. Sometimes in the book, someone does something that we, for us as readers, know, but some of the characters in that book, in that piece of writing, that poem, do not know. That's what we refer to as irony, that is dramatic. So we know something that some characters don't know, or some characters know something in the book that others do not actually know. That's dramatic irony. Let's look at the devil on the cross and where the different ironies appear in the book. To begin with, the title of the book is the very starting point of irony. This title is a big irony. When we talk about devil on the cross, we expect that we're going to see the devil, because the devil is that black thing, incidentally, and having horns and a tail. We have all gone to the churches and seen how they paint the pictures of the devil. And we expect this person to be put on the cross in the book. And we expect people maybe to be jubilating, just the way people jubilate when Jesus is being pushed towards the cross. But when we go to the book, actually, we do not see the devil exactly being put on a cross. It is something very small that we see in the story of Wangari, when she tells us about the dreams she has always had. And then when she collapses after she has been picked from the roadside, and we do not see the exact devil being presented on the cross. When we look at Boscara also, forcing Waringa into a sexual affair is also the second bit of irony we can think about. This one is actually carrying two forms of irony. One, this is a boss. We do not expect a boss to be coercing his or her workers into a sexual relationship. That is one. Number two, Boscara actually is a church leader. He openly tells Waringa how he is one of the members of the church, is actually one of the elders in the church. So he's betraying the church by involving himself in an extramarital affair, trying to force Waringa into a sexual affair. Number two, this also boss of ours is also married, is having a family, even has a ring on his finger. And in the same situation where he's married and even having a ring and proudly showing it to Waringa, is forcing her into a sexual affair. That is actually an irony. I would want to discuss exactly how these ironies affect the development of the different things of the book. So perhaps I will be pointing out a few, but if you want notes for this, actually just to go to our website, EduTech Secure Learning. I've already shared a link for you in the previous minutes. Just go there. You're going to find notes about this so that you can be able to see what's the effect of this. Because presenting these ironies in your essay does not earn you marks. What earns you marks is identifying the ironies and explaining them and showing the effect of the ironies. For example, the irony of Boskihara forcing Warenga into a sexual affair brings about the theme or develops the theme of betrayal and hypocrisy. He is a religious hypocrite. For example, he is married with a ring. He's also a church leader, but is involving himself in an extramarital affair. That's what it brings about. And then also moral decadence is also brought out very well in this aspect. Then also Boskihara continues to portray irony when he betrays Mwaura and the other workers. He openly tells them to settle down when they have a strike. Of course, we see that Muturi is one of the ringleaders of the strike against exploitation and the peanuts that they are paid at the expense of the too much work they do. So when he tells them to settle down, he's going to bring them money, is going to settle their affairs, and then he brings the police and fires the ringleaders, including Muturi. It is also an irony. And this actually also brings about betrayal and hypocrisy, and it explains exploitation and injustice. So you can see that there are three themes that are developed using that. But also the character trait is also another effect. It brings out Boskihara as a hypocrite, as a hypocritical character. So whenever you're discussing any technique, make sure that you bring out the effectiveness of the technique. And then also Waringa's landlord and the rentals. The rentals that Waringa is staying in, they describe them as those that are a ramshackle. They are falling very soon. They actually leak. We have holes that we see on the floor of the rooms. So when we see the landlord coming to Waringa's place, we expect her to be coming to maybe say we want to renovate these houses. But he has actually come to ask for more money, is increasing the rent. That is also a big irony that the houses are described as nests, but instead the person wants to increase rent for them. It's a big irony, but it communicates injustice and unfairness as a theme. It brings out the landlord as greedy and inconsiderate. And also, of course, this is belonging to the people in the middle class. We also look at the rich people as being inconsiderate and exploitative. The rich old man from Goroka also portrays a very big irony. This gentleman is one who engages in a love affair with a child that is equal to his grandchild, that is Waringa, and makes her actually to miss out on her education. So the fact that he promises heaven and does not fulfill that is also another very big irony. Then also at the end of the book, when he comes back to beg, the first time we see them running, chasing one another, and the chaser is actually the child man from Gorika, and the one being chased is Waringa. Then at the end of the book, the irony changes. It becomes now Waringa chasing. The big irony is that he even denies the pregnancy when he actually has promised heaven to this girl. Okay, so we shall proceed and look at other ironies, and also have Wangari in the court in Nairobi. This woman is the very person we met when she enters Mwaura's Matatu Matata Matamu as one of the passengers. She's wearing a chitengi and having a sisal basket, but without shoes. Is a very poor woman actually. Incidentally, is a person who contributes in the fight against the the fight against the whites, and therefore getting independence in Kenya she's partly responsible. But she's now the one who is being taken through a lot of injustices. Now, in the court, let us begin with the court. We expect the court to really meet, to be having a black judge, but the judge in the court is a white. This is a country that has got independence already. We don't expect whites to be leading the important affairs of the country, but we find them there. This actually communicates a lot about the injustice in Kenya. That's why blacks cannot find justice. Then two, it also communicates about neocolonialism. It looks like the whites have not completely gone away. They are still managing some of the important affairs of Kenya. Also, the other irony is that they get money, they take money away from Wangari after promising them that is going to work together hand in hand with the police in Morocco to arrest the thieves because she knows where they stay and where they are and what they do. So we expect the court to offer her a hand, maybe a financial hand, to help this girl, this woman, help the police get the thieves. But instead, they squeeze the little money that she has out of her. But next thing that she cannot have transport back to Morocco. Two, Wangari also serves in the rebellion, the Mau Mau rebellion, the rebellion which brings this country to independence. But incidentally now, the country has betrayed her. So this kind of irony that you serve in the country and you end up being the very last poor person in the country is enough to also explain the neocolonialism and also disillusionment, despair and disillusionment in the country like Kenya. The elections that Kehahu also partakes, the cheating is so high, is also another very big irony. People have fought for independence, and at this moment, we expect them to be carrying out independent, fair elections. But there is too high cheating, and incidentally, he gives these people very little money and smaller gifts, and they keep singing, they keep singing very interesting songs about the man who is very corrupt and etc. who doesn't work for them. The police also arresting Muturi and Wangari instead of the thieves in the cave is also a big irony. We do not expect such a thing to happen because they have brought them, they have gathered as a group to report people that are affecting their country. Incidentally, they are the ones that are arrested. This irony also communicates a lot about the injustice in the courts of law and among the police. Then the rearrest of Wangari and Muturi in the court premises. Later, 2 years after they have been arrested in the cave, remember they are taken to the courts of law, and then the judge releases them. But they tell us that they are rearrested while still in the compound of the court. This also shows the injustices, the incompetence of the courts of law, meaning that people are not getting justice at all. The police arrests them when they have not even got out of the court premises. Now, this also brings out the relevancy of this book to our society. Such cases have happened so much in the African countries where most people have been arrested, taken to the courts of law. The courts of law release them, but they are rearrested. Immediately they get out of the courts of law and they disappear to places they can't tell. Then later on they appear again, sometimes actually to the same courts of law. So this makes the book Devon Across relevant to our society. And also the interference of the whites in the affairs of Kenya. You see that in the cave, these people have not come to give these people to give the blacks or the Kenyans biscuit. No, they have come to check on the businesses that they had left with the black rich people to see how they are progressing and also to show them that they are still in control. So this interference shows so much the theme of neocolonialism. It means that the whites have not at all gone away. They have not left the affairs of Kenya alone. They're still leading. Now, there are other many ironies that you can find, but I know that this 12 can help you to go about irony in Dev on Across. In case you want notes, I repeat, please just go to our website, EduTech Secure Learning, or you can just say edutechonlineschools.com stroke secure learning, and you'll be able to get all the notes for this. Let us now look at symbolism. What do we mean by symbolism? To begin with, it is important for us to understand what a symbol is. A symbol is simply a representation of a big idea, a situation, or a thing. Something that represents another is a symbol. So symbolism is the use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. It is the use of small situations to represent bigger situations. That's what we can refer to as symbolism. No one is going to ask you the meaning of symbolism, but if you understand it at a slight meaning like that, it's going to help you analyze the book even better. So we shall proceed and see the areas in the book where symbolism is presented. To begin with, we shall talk about the title of the book. The title of this book, Devil on the Cross, is having a lot of things to discuss. For example, to begin with, the title is a symbol. The title of the book, Devil on the Cross, is one. Devil, we know what it means. The devil is actually, in the book, is not a figure that we see in the churches, the church walls, and in the books, and how the Christians describe the devil. The devil in this book is actually all the injustices, all the negativities that people of Kenya are going through. And therefore, putting the devil on the cross is actually a symbol of trying to fight against each and everything that presses against the people of Kenya. That's what it means. So the title Devil on the Cross is just a symbolic representation of the fight, of the efforts that the Kenyans go through to ensure that the people of Kenya are free from the different injustices, the different exploitations, especially sexual exploitation and even labor exploitation, the other injustices, the other themes like neocolonialism, rural materialism, and others. So that is the representation. Then too, the men in rags also represent the local people, the people of the low class, the people, the peasants, people who do not have a lot. We meet these people when they are putting the devil on the cross in Warenga's dream, the dream that she has had right from her secondary school. And these are the people who strive to ensure that people of Kenya are free from injustices. These are the local people in Uganda here. I think we call them Omuntu wa wansi. Then the men in black are representing the rich people, the middle class in Kenya. These are the people who incidentally cannot do away with the whites. They want them to be around all the time. They are the people who come and put down the devil. The devil now, this time around, the whites bring them back and bring all the injustices that whites come with during the colonialism period to Africa. Those are the people. And then the Matatu. The Matatu Matata Matamu T4333 is a representation of the African countries that have just come out of colonialism. This Matatu, the way it is described, is actually a ramshackle of a country that has been beaten down by whites and is now struggling to come back. Incidentally, the owner of this country preaches so much goodness about it, and that is also another irony, if you can add it on the list of ironies that we have just discussed. This Matatu is having a lot to discuss. It is very important for us to look at the description of this Matatu. If you're using a version of Devil Across, the original version, it is going to be found on page 30, page 31. It is in chapter 3 of the book, the beginning of chapter 3. They tell us that it looked as if Mwaura's Matatu Matata Matam Model T Ford registration number MMM333 was the very first motor vehicle to have been made on Earth. The engine moaned and screamed like several hundred dented axes being ground simultaneously. The car's body shook like a reed in the wind. The whole vehicle wallowed along the road like a duck up a mountain. In the morning, before starting, the Matatu gave spectators a wonderful treat. The engine would crawl, then cough as if a piece of metal were stuck in its throat. Then it rasped as if it had asthma. At such times, Mwaura would open the bonnet dramatically, poke here and there, touch his wire and the other. So this description is telling you so much about the countries, the African countries that we are in. And that explains why the Matatu is actually being occupied by people of different categories. We have people that are very loyal, the country that they can go and fight, the Muturi and the Wangaris. We have people that are suffering the consequences of keeping quiet, the Gaturias. We have people that are rich and they have to keep quiet and support their ideologies. Those the Muriru Amkirai, the man in the dark glasses. And then we have people who are there to make money. People who can do anything to ensure they can get, people who can even take away a full chunk of money meant to construct a hospital. just for themselves. The people who can do anything, who can even kill to earn money, those are the Mauras, the drivers. Incidentally, the Mauras are now representing the presidents of such African countries. So this Matatu is actually a representation of a ramshackle of an African country that has just come out of independence and is going through the strives of controlling themselves. That's how they are. And the cave is also a representation of or a symbol of um, of capitalism. Capitalism. People who look at money as the only thing that can liberate them. People who do not mind about other people's lives and how other people feel. That's the reason as to why whoever is there is actually talking about how they can squeeze money out of the poor. And every person who comes out to say they can live with the poor so long as they survive, those people are killed. That's why Muriram Cry does not survive. Is killed at the end of it all. And whoever can be able to have a strategy that can squeeze money out of people is the one who is surviving. So it is a representation that gives a representation of the injustices of the capitalists or capitalism. The gun that Muturi also hands over to Wangari at the end of the towards the end of the book is also a symbol of freedom and liberation. Now, there is a big reason as to why Muturi does not give this gun to Gaturia, and yet they are together with Waringa. There is a way Anguji is trying to say that power can now be given to the women and they can handle well. Now, this gun is supposed to be a symbol of freedom. It can also be a representation of liberty, a fight for freedom and liberty. Now, remember, it's the same gun that Waringa uses to kill the rich old man from Gorika at the end of the book. So he's getting rid of the injustices. He's revenging the injustices that are vented on the women and the young girls in Kenya and African countries at large. So the rich, by all means, cannot stand the anger, the revenge of the poor that they try to infringe on every time they meet them again. Then also we have the 7 whites in the that are putting on the money tainted suits. We remember that in the cave they tell us that every white man was putting on, every white delegate was putting on a suit that was made out of their currencies. Now these people are actually representing the colonialists, and this time round they have come to pick people that can represent them and run their businesses in African countries, especially in Kenya, as they go back. So they are actually there to promote neo-colonialism. And Warenga is also a symbol. Warenga is a symbol of liberation, it's a symbol of freedom. This is a young girl that has just struggled through life to see that she can survive the mixed cultures. This is a girl who is going through a culture of the whites, admiring it so much, and has instantly to change and be in the culture of her own, the African culture. Now, it's a girl who, after accepting that she cannot be what she is not and accepts to be an African, she changes that and becomes very beautiful. That explains why, as she enters the party at Gaturia's father's home, she's the most beautiful and the most smartly dressed there. So she's a representation of freedom once she accepts to be what she is. Then Wangari is also a symbol of the freedom fighters that have been ignored by their own countries. A woman who fights for liberation, for freedom, who fights against colonialism, and then is betrayed by the country because the country cannot remember these heroes and heroines. Muturi is also the same. He's a person who cannot stand and see things happen or go the wrong way, and he just watches. That's why he has to lead people in the Champions Construction Company, the company owned by Boskara, and go on a strike to ensure that they are paid better. However, he doesn't survive because he's sent away. But his being sent away is actually a blessing because that's the only way he's able to go to Morocco and mobilize the masses, the workers, to come and join hands with the students and the peasants to fight against the injustices in their cave. Then we also have Gaturi. Gaturi is actually a representation of the lost citizens, those that are educated but are lost. They don't know exactly what to do. Gaturi is this person who the masses, the workers, the people in the country have ignored because they don't look at them as people who can help. The educated people who are useless. Gaturi has tried several times to sing a song that can liberate this country, but his songs cannot liberate the country because they are simply words. That's why people like Wangari and Muturi who stand and Warenga who stand and shoot, who stand and violate the rules, who stand and fight physically are looked at as heroes, and Gaturi cannot. Is actually a representation of the people who stand before microphones and sing songs to the African countries thinking that they are going to be liberated. Is now a cast lot of the educated people who do not have effect. This explains why at the end of the book actually, when Waringa has shot dead his dad, he doesn't know whether to follow Waringa as a lover or to remain around and console the mother. He's a very confused lot of the educated group of people in the African countries. That's what we can talk about symbolism. I know there are other symbols that you can also explore. This video simply brings for you most of them, and then the rest you can find them on your own. As we conclude this video, I want to encourage you to find out the rest of the notes. If you want the notes, you can always find them on our website. Is here, edutechonlineschools.com/secure learning. You can always find our notes there. If you want the holiday program coaching or weekend coaching programs, please also contact us. We have our online school that we can use to always teach you. Please just stay tuned. Make sure that you always subscribe and check on our channel here for the videos, especially that come up every week or every after 2 weeks at least. Now, next time we're going to look at video description. We shall look at allusion and allegory, and then also foreshadowing. Stay tuned.